Hey, what's happening? So, I am jumping on to talk about tattoos, and I'm going to rate mine pain wise because when I booked to have my throat done, I did try and search for people on here that have had their throat done who's just giving their honest opinion on it because I weren't sure. I've been putting it off and I just wanted to see it, and I only found like one or two videos that actually spoke about it. I thought, I might as well just do one in it for anyone who wants to find one like I did. So for me, my throat tattoo was the one tattoo that I've been putting off for like 10 years or more. I've got the sides of my neck done, behind my ear done, I've got the back of my neck done, I've got the bottom of my neck done, and I felt like most of those was uncomfortable, to be fair. But right out of 1 to 10, I would say, for me personally, I'd give it between a 7 and an 8. I would say I was 4 hours all in, start to finish. But I don't think I'd have been able to have sat for another hour. So I think it depends on the tattoo and what you're having and the positioning of it and the detail, and is there much, like with the outlining, is there a lot of shading? Is it just something small in the centre of the centre of the throat? Like, I think it depends on what you've picked, because I've seen some people say, my partner's had their throat done, he could have fell asleep. Oh, so and so, I know this person had this done, and I think it depends what it is, because some people might have just had like something that hasn't really got much like outlining or much detail. It's something quite simple but effective, but that might have been easy because it might have been quite a quick tattoo and there might not be that much detail. But anyone who's had a tattoo anywhere on the body will know when you're having a tattoo, it gets more to, it's not so much the actual tattoo itself, it's if you've been sat there for hours and the skin gets sore, and it's every time the tattooist starts wiping your tattoo with like the towel or the cloth or whatever it is he's using, the tissue. That's for me. That for me is the worst bit, because when it's sore and then obviously they're constantly wiping away like any of the ink or whatever, that's where it's like I start flinching when it's like 3-4 hours in on my throat. Every time he started wiping it, I was like that's what I was struggling with, not so much the actual tattoo itself. The other thing with a throat tattoo, which I didn't pay too much mind to, was the position you've got to lie in to have your throat done. I didn't really think about that too much. But like when you've got your head kind of dangling back and you're lying on the bed with your actual head like back on itself, that in itself can be a bit annoying and a little bit uncomfortable. So for the throat, it's not just the actual tattoo, it's the other bits for it, like the position you're having to sit in for so long and the constant wiping. Like, it's just sore, in it. Like, the back of my neck hurt a little bit. Behind the ear, I will say, is the best tattoo I have ever had in regards of pain. I'd give it a 1 out of 10, if that. Like, that is the only tattoo I can say it was just a dream. So behind the ear for me was the best tattoo I've ever had. Didn't have any pain from it at all.
I agree.
Like, it was
Like
it was how I'd imagine if you had numbing cream that was the bollocks that would work and you could feel like the needle but not have any pain from it. It was a dream.
To be fair, I just felt like it tickled. Like,
it was bang on. So yeah, for me, best tattoo I've ever had and the most comfortable one to sit behind the ear. Neck, I'd give it an 8 with how long I sat there. And I know 4 hours ain't a lot, but I think if it was only like a 2 hour sitting, or you was doing it in separate visits, I think 2 hours would be sound. So I'm gonna say 8 with that time, but anything under that I would probably drop the score by quite a bit. Yeah, sides of the neck weren't too bad. There's just the odd bit where it's just a bit like, it's almost like a twitch. It's the nerves. It's just that's annoying. Like, there was one part on my neck that I was having done, and then I had like it went straight down my body, straight down my right leg, and it was making like my foot just like flick. But that was annoying because I couldn't stop it, and I didn't want to be a fucking nuisance to the tattooist. And my fucking leg was twitching, but it was only when he was on a certain spot on my neck, so that was a bit weird. But yeah, for me, I'm buzzing with it. I love it, to be fair. Yeah, so that's what I think. Any other questions on tattoos, drop it in the comments. Worst tattoo I've ever had, I would say, is my ribs. Each one, I've got like a paragraph on my ribs, and each line is on each rib. That was the worst tattoo I've ever sat. Can't remember how long it was. It weren't that long. Didn't take that much time, but it was the worst. Second worst, I would probably say, is the throat. A lot of people say hands and fingers. For me, my hands and fingers wasn't that bad. It was a bit, I know it sounds silly, but it's a bit sharp on the fingers. But pain-wise, I didn't think it was that bad. I've got most of my fingers done, my hands done. The best place to have a tattoo, like a big tattoo, is your arms. I think your arms are the easiest thing to sit for tattoos. The only bits on the arms that are a bit uncomfortable, I found personally, was my elbow and like the inside of your arm as it gets close to your armpit. That's a little bit fucking sore. Like I've got a portrait on my left arm, just there, and that was one of them cases where as he was wiping it, it was getting sore. I've got all my chest done. I would say the chest ain't the best either. I'd probably say, yeah, throat's bad. I'd say ribs, throat, and then my chest for pain wise.
I absolutely hated my fingers.
Like across, like near the collarbones, that was uncomfortable. And in certain places it gets into the centre of your chest was uncomfortable. Yeah, so I didn't really rate the chest too much. Back, some people have said they struggled with their back tattoo. I've got a massive angel on my back that goes shoulder to shoulder and it goes all down my spine. And to be honest, that was one of the easiest tattoos I always sat, which it just proves that different people have different pain thresholds with different areas, because I know a lot of people have struggled with back. And I found that one of the easiest, but then some people said their throat was easy, and I found that one of the hardest. So each person's different, and also the tattoos that people have are also different. Also, I think the tattooist can make a difference. Like I'd probably say 6 tattooists over the whole time I've been getting tattooed, and some have been rapid, but some are slow, some are quick. But I found some of them can be quite rough with it and feel like they're scratching you a bit with it. Whereas, and the machines, different machines, I felt a difference in. But yeah, I think there's a few things that play into it with the tattoos. Where else have I got tattooed? My ankles are done. That was just a bit uncomfortable. I'd say the best bit for the ankles. My thigh was sound. There was one tiny little bit on the side of my thigh which was a bit like and a bit as it goes towards my knee, but that weren't that bad. Shin was pretty easy. That's another one. I'm having my head tattooed Tuesday next week. If anybody on here has had their head tattooed, drop in the comments, because I can't find any videos on people having their head tattooed on being open on what the pain was like. But if you put into Google head tattoo or what's the pain like, it's meant to be the worst place to have done. But then when I had like I say beyond my ear, that was a dream. So again, I don't know whether that's a bit of bullshit, because to say it's the worst place on the head to toe to have tattooed, I don't know if I believe it, but I'll soon find out Tuesday. So if you know anyone who's had their head tattooed, let me know in the comments what's that's like. Rate it. Obviously, I'm not having the top of the dome done, because that would be a fucking wham tattoo. But I'm having like the sides, but towards the back done. So it's going to be like beyond my ears, but like it's going to be like there on both sides. But yeah, drop in the comments.